I will forward the link with YouTube link or something. Sulaja, Dr. Sulaja is here.
Yes, madam.
Let's start. I think we will proceed with the thing right now.
Okay, madam. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to one and all. Today we are commencing our second leg of webinar series jointly organized by KAU, ICR, NAHEP and CAST. This series have 3 lectures. The theme area is on conversation with masters on student soft skill development program. Our first series was on broadening horizons, unconventional career opportunities for agriculture students. We had 4 lectures for that series, and the participants have given very good feedback on that series. Sequential to that series, we are enabling soft skill development to agriculture graduates for capturing better jobs. Today, we are fortunate to have an eminent resource person to interact with you. Mr. Santhosh Karnananda. He started his career at Google and quit his job to pursue entrepreneurship. Now, I may invite Dr. Jayasri Krishnankuti to give introductory remarks about the speaker. Dr. Jayasri Krishnankuti has been heading agriculture extension at College of Horticulture. Now, she is the professor and head of our prestigious institution Communication Center under Directorate of Extension. Madam, I request you to give introductory remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Sulaja, Dr. Binu, for giving me this opportunity, and welcome to Shri Santhosh Karnananda, the chief speaker of today. My dear students, so it's a pleasure and privilege from my part to have this opportunity for opening remarks, introductory remarks. First of all, the topic for today is very apt for students, that is soft skills for career development. So most of us will have hard skills like the subject matter knowledge and technical skills required for the subject matter. But mostly the edge that we have over others will be decided by the soft skills, efficiency, or proficiency that we have. So Dr. Binu has found a very eminent, very suitable speaker who's of national repute at his very young age. Shri Santhosh Karnananda, if you have not heard about him, he's a self-made technocrat, come entrepreneur, come speaker, come trainer, come website developer. When I went through his biodata, he's from Dindigul originally. I hope the pronunciation is correct. And he had a schooling there. Then he went to the prestigious Laila College in Chennai for his graduation, and then to the Mudras Institute of Communications for his postgraduate studies. And then, because of the hard work, perseverance, and skills that he had, he got a job in Google as I understand, as an accounts person. And then after 2 years, he realized his calling is not there. He wanted to realize or utilize his full potential, so he quit the job and then became an entrepreneur of his own, his own efficiency, to his own credit. And then he started. He felt that English has been a very weak area for all the majority of the Indian students. So there, the students require hand-holding or a support, which will enable them to compete with world proficiency or world students or competitors. So I think he started his famous website of Mera English at that time. And then that met with great success. He had a lot of students who utilized that and came successful in their competitive examinations due to that, found better jobs. And then I think he went on to my GMAT and my GRE, which prepared the students for the international entry examinations who studies or working abroad. So there cannot be a better resource person to handle this very important topic for our students who are about to pass out and venture into the postgraduate studies field or career. So, like all of us here, I am also looking forward to hearing from him. Thanks for gracing College of Horticulture, and thanks for agreeing to address our students. Shri Santhosh, over to you. Thanks for accepting our opportunities. Over to you now.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the very comprehensive introduction about me. I'm happy to be here today amongst all of you. It's always been something that I wanted to do in life to address young people because I feel there is a lot of gap between what you understand about career and the reality. In fact, let me start with. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me ask you one question. It's not a question, it's more of an observation. This is something that's been intriguing me throughout my career as well. In fact, recently I wrote about it on social media, and that article became very. A lot of people started sharing that article. That article essentially captures this particular theme: is that why do you think toppers in schools don't end up becoming toppers in colleges? That is the first part. And you would also see toppers in colleges don't end up getting into the best careers. And even if you look at people who start with great careers, probably after 10 or 15 years, they don't end up having the best possible careers. So this is something that we all have observed, right? If you have observed it, you could type yes in the chat box. And if you're confused as to why this is happening, you could also type why in the chat box. Have you observed this? That people are not able to translate their success continuously over a period of time. Yes, I see a lot of people who are curious. They say yes and why. This is good. In fact, that is something that has intrigued me as well. And even I started my career. I felt that okay, fine, we've landed at Google. Thankfully, I started my career at Google. And then I figured out there are other things that I need to focus on. And then the Google experience did not necessarily help me in the other careers that I pursued. So there is necessarily a gap. And this is precisely what we're going to talk today, right? In various forms. Of course, I'll bring up examples from my career, from the career of other people as well. And by the first impression, I see more than 20 people who already expressed interest. They're also curious to understand this. Okay. So that is going to be the theme. And I'll also set a few expectations regarding this session. I understand it's not very comfortable or not the easiest thing to do to listen to somebody. I mean, I've also been a student. I mean, lectures that go beyond a particular time can get very boring. So, to that end, what I would recommend is whenever you have a question at any point in time, feel free to interrupt me and ask a question. The reason why I'm requesting you to ask questions is when you ask questions, if you have a question, there's a very good chance that 20 other people might have the same question. So a lot of questions can be clarified through that. And the second thing is it makes the conversation more interactive. All right. So let's start. Have you, of course, through this poster and through the orientation that you had towards this session, you would have understood the importance of soft skills. Even Madam Shri at the beginning told that while hard skills are very important, but soft skills are even more important. So, what are these soft skills, and what are these? What has been the impact of this on our career? Is something that I'm going to talk today. By the way, for the question that I asked at the beginning, any answers? Anybody has an answer as to why success has not become perennial? Why at every point in time in a career and life, the definition of success is changing, and why we are not able to continue it? Any answers? All right. In case you come up with some answer, you could type it in the chat box. So let me take a few important things. I'm unable to share my screen here for some technical reason, but I'll be able to speak to make up for that. Okay. See, one of the foremost things, of course, there are many skills, and it would take 1 hour won't be enough. We could go on for one day. But one of the most important things is communication skills, of course. A lot of people think that communication skills is only about English. It is not. Of course, speaking in English is important, is in fact necessary. But communication skills and English skills are not the same. The reason I'm saying that is there are many a time when you are doing your work, when you are, say, for example, working with people on the ground, you don't have to necessarily speak in English, but you could speak in some other language. But the point here is a lot of people who don't speak will not be able to get the job done. So, in addition to your hard skills, I understand you're all agricultural students. The first thing I would recommend that all of you practice is start speaking to people. Because at the end of the day, speaking is a proof that you are giving an impression to the other person that you know something. You could be a subject matter expert, you could be the best student in your particular subject, but if you do not speak, you will not be able to convey that impression. See, for example, a simple example is that when I'm talking here, one of the very few students might come up to ask a question, right? And there's a very good chance that I will remember the name and the face and the background of that student. Amongst, I see about there are 140 participants now. Amongst these 140 participants, I might remember 2 or 3 names at the end of this session. And does it mean that those 2 or 3 students are the smartest? No. It's not about smartness. These are the 2 or 3 students who have been able to put across their point in a way that it captures my attention. So that clearly captures why communication skills are extremely important. And moving on to any questions here about communication, if you have any challenges, are you feeling shy to speak? Anything you may ask. All right. So let's connect this back to the question that I asked. Say a typical student, say in a 10th standard or a 12th standard or a college, is measured only by how much mark they score, isn't it? There's no other criteria to measure them. But after they graduate from college, be it an interview, be it a group discussion, or be it talking to people whom they have to get hired, the foremost skill is talking. So you could be the university topper, but as long as you're not able to articulate your ideas, ideally in English, but English is not the only language. There's so many languages. You should be able to articulate your thoughts and be able to tell that in a particular way that people understand. So this precisely captures why communication is important. And where do we, if I can ask a question, from which states do we have students here across the country? Anybody can type which states are represented or which cities are represented. Okay, Kerala. Okay, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh. Fair enough. Maharashtra. All different states we have. All right, it's a good example. See, between the people over here, there are so many states, so many languages here. So start speaking in your mother tongue. If you are totally shy to ask questions, you're not sure whether you can speak well, start speaking your mother tongue. And of course, you could also work on your language skills and parallelly improve both. All right. And another critical aspect I would like to cover here in terms of skills required for a career is practical knowledge. That is something that I find woefully short. So it is a matter of fact that I'm not necessarily making a commentary on Indian higher education, but across the world, most higher education syllabuses are not in tune with the industry. Right? In this case, since you're all agricultural students, you also have certain people from Maharashtra. Since you're all agricultural students, I would recommend, of course, majority of your work would be practicals, But in addition to that, I would recommend that you start observing the trends in your particular industry with respect to what is happening. Because, as I told you, the simple reason why I'm reiterating this again and again is that across the world, the syllabuses of higher education is not completely in tune with the ground reality. And to give you a simple example as to what you can do, because you're agriculture students, there are a lot of agri-tech companies that are coming up. Right? Today, technology, not only today, over the last 20, 25 years, the technology has been ruling. One minute, I got a question, Jayesh. Jayesh, can you just hold on? I will complete this point. When we attend the interview, how to speak with the interview. Yeah. So I'll take the question after completing this point. With respect to technology, right? See, a lot of people think that, okay, what is that I can do with my specialization with agriculture? Agri-tech is a booming industry. By agri-tech, what I mean is we all know technology and we all have been thinking that technology is only to the confines of people in urban areas, confined to corporate offices. It's not true. A lot of work that are done by farmers, a lot of farm produce, agriculture activity can be phenomenally increased by infusing technology. Okay, something as simple as bringing in the best of um, equipment, the best of production techniques to the agricultural land could phenomenally increase their output. And this is specifically what I'm speaking about practical application. In addition to what you learn, try to figure out that can I do something using practical application of technology to the agribusiness? Say, for example, I'm not necessarily quoting technology here. For example, in Tamil Nadu, many years back, I think about 15, 20 years back, they brought a concept called Ulavar Sandai. Isn't it? The government brought it, where farmers can directly sell the produce to the consumers so that they don't have to go through middle, as a result of which farmers could increase their profits. Today, that itself has become a huge business model in the private sector. A lot of agri-tech companies are acting as a one-stop, like an Amazon. You all know Amazon, right? What does Amazon do? Amazon acts as a web portal where it takes products from various sellers and ensures that people buy it. At the end of it, both of them benefit. The same model has also started in the agribusiness as well, where a lot of private companies with huge investments, with youngsters like you, who have got this idea of how would it be if I procure products from people, from farmers across the country and ensure that we give them the best price. All of them benefit. This is just an example. So now let me take this question. Jayesh, where are you? Can you switch on your camera if possible? Or you could switch on your, you could speak on the mic if possible.
Hello. Hello, sir. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
you're audible. Please go ahead.
Sir, how to replace when we are attending the interview for job?
Okay, so Jayesh, can you give me a little bit about your background? Where are you from? What do you?
Sir, I am BTech Food Technology student. I have done my college in Pune, MIT,
Okay.
CFT.
Mm-hmm.
I am from Nashik, sir.
Okay, fair enough. Right. See, with respect to interview, thanks, Jayesh. Thanks for asking this question. It takes, at the end of this session, I'll for sure remember Jayesh because he's the first person to speak today. Again, a typical example of communication skills. He's been able to articulate his thought and put it in the form of words. See, with respect to interviews, do not walk into an interview to impress anybody. Instead, what I would recommend, not only recommend, what I look forward to when, suppose I go for interviews, or in the past, whenever I've gone to campuses to interview students, the two aspects that I look forward in students are very simple aspects. Okay, the first thing I look forward is, are they interesting? By interesting, what I mean is in terms of what they have done in their life. what they have done in college, how have they grown up. Because if you look at life, a lot of us, I'm sorry, a lot of us have similar backgrounds. A lot of us have similar challenges as we grow up. But it's completely up to us with respect to what we do with those challenges, how we have crafted our life, whenever a challenges come, how we have reacted to it. So that becomes the interesting part. As a person, have I had an interesting life? By interesting life, I'm not necessarily speaking about have you climbed Mount Everest, have you gone around the world, not such grandiose things, something as simple, something very much possible within your vicinity and sphere of influence. First point. And the second point is, I look forward to see if they are interested in the job, because a lot of students, especially not necessarily freshers, across hierarchies, across interviews, we see that a lot of people are not actually interested in the job. They come to the job because the college management asked them to go, or because the parents asked them to go, or because their friend also is there in the interview. To this end, we see a lot of people are not aware of what the job requirement. See, every job interview starts with a JD. JD is a job description, where in the pre-placement talk or in your campus notice board, they would give a description of what this job is about and what this company is about. Right? I remember during my the day before my Google interview. This was long back. This was in 2006. 2006, of course, internet as a concept was there, but internet was not accessible by everybody. In the sense, even at home, certain homes had it. In my house, we didn't have it. Smartphones was a non-existent majority of the world. So I had to go to a browsing center, internet cafe. How you nowadays? I don't think they exist. I sat there for 2 hours and prepared an extensive background about the particular job, the company that is Google. I didn't know much about Google then before I joined. So that preparation ensured that I gave an impression to the interviewers that I'm actually interested in the job. Right? So apart from this, I don't think you need to do anything. Don't try to go out of your way. See, if you try to be somebody else whom you're not, then they'll easily find out. So if you're interesting as a person in terms of what you've done in your life, and if you show sufficient interest in terms of the knowledge of the job and the company, that should be enough. Everything else falls in place. Because in one day before the interview or 2 days before the interview, you really can't become somebody else. Jayesh cannot become Mahesh, for example. Jayesh will be Jayesh. Large scale transformations are not possible. I hope I've answered your question, Jayesh. Yes, no? All right. Somebody else has a question related to this interviews or how to talk in interviews, what to do. Okay. Right. I have another chat from Jayesh. I'll give you 30 seconds in case somebody has a question you could type relating to the same topic so that it's easy for me to answer. But happy to see the attendance as well. From the time we started till now, the attendance is doubled. We have about 160 people. Okay, 1 minute. I have two questions. One is from Jay Lakshmi. Jay Lakshmi, where are you? Can you ask this question? Jay Lakshmi, are you there?
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, please.
Sir, what will be the mindset of
can you introduce yourself? Where are you from? What have you done?
I am from Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
I'm doing final year BAC.
Okay. Go ahead. What
Soon
is it?
Going to graduate.
Okay, sure. Please go ahead.
That's all, sir.
You can ask your question.
When when we are going to interview, what may be the mindset of the interviewer? Like, which are the persons they may select? What are the qualities they expect from us?
Correct. See, thanks, Jalakshmi. That's a good question. So, in
Thank
brief,
you,
I
sir.
answered it to Jayesh. So, let me articulate it even more. See, of course, technical skills, your graduation marks, or your other aspects, all that really help. But one of the key things that come through any interview is the attitude. By attitude, what I'm referring to is the willingness to work hard and grow. Okay, to this end, what I would like to reiterate is, in majority of interviews, candidates do not show that energy or passion or thirst for success. Okay, see, interview technically is just a usually right at freshers level, or for most job interviews, the interviews don't last for more than 30 or 45 minutes, isn't it? It's unlikely that any interview at a beginner level lasts for 2 or 3 hours. So in that half an hour, are you able to give this energy or this vibe that I am somebody who is keen on growing in my career, who has demonstrated hard work, and who wants to continuously learn and grow as a person? So these are the skills that I'm referring to together as the attitude that you have towards your life and career. The reason why I'm prioritizing attitude than anything else is simply because other skills can be taught. For example, assuming your English communication skills is not great, assuming there are certain challenges, you could always take up an English course. In fact, majority of companies that hire, after they hire you, they make you go through something called the orientation program, where they teach you how to speak in a corporate context, what to say, what not to say, what kind of emails to write, how to speak to your manager, how to speak to your subordinate. Majority of the companies have something called the orientation program. So a language skill or a technical aspect about the job will be taught to you, can be taught, but attitude cannot be taught. They can't teach you to become more energetic, right? Isn't it? If you, as a person, you're not energetic, a company or anybody else cannot do anything about it. Or as a person, if you're complacent, by complacent, what I mean is if you already think that I know it all, I know everything in the world, I don't like to learn more. That attitude cannot be changed. So the answer to your question, Jay Lakshmi, is that what do interviewers see? Is they see this willingness of the person to pick up new things, learn, grow, and the growth mindset. The attitude is very important. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, sir. I got it.
Sure. Right. In the meantime, we also have other questions. Razia Banu. How to remove stage phobia? Razia Banu, where are you there? Where are you? Let's see if you have stage phobia. Let's see if you can talk now. Are you there?
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon. Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Sir, I'm
Can you
Raja
tell
Banu.
this loudly?
Sir, I'm Raja Banu from Ladakh. Currently, I'm pursuing my MSc Forestry. So my question is like this: how to remove the fear of interacting before many people, like there are many mass people.
Right. You just did. You telling me that you have fear, but I don't see any fear. You just spoke in front of 160 people. Same thing. It's very simple. See, to Razia and everybody, a lot of people, we have fears in our minds that actually don't exist. Okay. See, I understand speaking in front of 100 people or 1,000 people, or for that matter, speaking in front of 5 people itself could be a challenge. But most of us, right? I mean, if you read a little bit of psychology, most of us underestimate our own potential. Right? See, Razia told that, okay, how to overcome. She spoke her point very clearly. I hope all of you understood her question. right? This itself is proof that she is able to speak, but she thinks probably deep down that she's not able to speak. So the first hindrance towards speaking is not any artificial fear. I mean, it's not a fear that's outside, it's an inherent fear. The fact that we underestimate ourselves, the fact that we think we could be wrong. That's point one. And point two, in fact, I'm happy that she brought up this question. I would like to speak a little about failure. Okay, because a lot of us have this unnecessary fear of failure, and it's also a societal thing. I mean, I hope all of you are Indians. In India, especially, right, as a culture, there is an undue importance given to success, which is very wrong. People think that you are doing well in life only when you succeed. When you fail, everything has gone wrong. Life is a misery. It's a completely wrong attitude to have, right? I mean, is there anybody in this 160? Now we have good that we have 161 people. Has anybody in your own life, not only the 160 people, in your own, each of you would have met 1,000 people, for example. Has anybody ever come across a person in this world who has never failed in life? If you come across, tell, yes. So this is a proof that failure is there everywhere. If failure is there everywhere, if everybody fails, why are you scared of failing? By failure, what I mean is when you take up this task of public speaking or speaking to people, in your mind, the mindset is that, okay, what if I say something? What if I fail on stage? So please overcome that because nobody out there is perfect, including me, including everybody in this talk. We all fail, we all make mistakes. But the difference between the person who continuously grows and the person who doesn't grow is the person who's willing to make mistakes and who's willing to learn from it. Okay. The same thing with public speaking. Nobody comes out of school at the age of 15 or 16 and becomes a great public speaker. They practice it many times, they make errors, they get feedback from other people, probably their faculty, mentors, or parents. They correct it and they do it again and again. So, Raja, in case you're aspiring to become a public speaker, probably in the long run, or in the short run to get over this fear, the best thing to do is to continuously do it again and again whenever you get an opportunity. You've already made a start. I'm glad that you've already made a start. That you have you spoke up, you spoke in front of 160 people. Continue to do this, and I'm sure in the due course you will pick up more.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. All right, let us check if we have other questions. Yeah, there were two questions which I answered. The mindset of interviewers, how to remove stage phobia. Raina Thomas. Where is Raina Thomas?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes. Hi, Raina. Just hold on. Yeah, you're audible. Just hold on. See, the reason why I'm asking you to speak is soft skills is essentially skills that improve with practice. See, I can easily read out your chat and keep talking. But if I keep talking, in addition to boredom and all that, the only person whose communication skill will improve at the end of the session is me, because I'm the one who's talking. The communication skill or any other skill is a matter of practice. So unless you start practicing it, you will not improve. That is the reason why I'm asking you to talk, because we're talking about communication skills here. This is an opportunity. Go ahead, Raina.
Sir, I am from Kerala Agriculture University. I am a final year student in College of Horticulture. Sir, my question is that how shall I introduce myself in an interview board? I mean, they already know about me from the resume I provide them. So just introducing like, my name is Reina, I am this and that. It's something that they already know. So what will be their attitude towards me when I introduce the something that they already know about me?
Right. It's a very good question. I'm very happy that you asked it. And this is a question that 99% of students don't have an answer to. Very good that you say. So that is where I recommend that you do some research. By research, not research about the world, but research about yourself. Uh, if you look at children, right? I'm sure all of you have seen children, babies, right? Um, they always listen to stories. Yes or no? Have you observed it? Type yes in the chat box. You observed it, right? And it's not only babies. You look at all adults. Whenever there is a story, all of you like cinema, movies. Yes, right? What are movies essentially? They are also stories. So across all ages, from a baby to an adult, adolescent to an adult to an old person, everybody is attuned to listen to stories. Okay, because our brains are created like that. Whenever we tell a good story, the audience will listen. The direct answer to Raina's question is that introspect, and by introspect, I'm asking you to look into your own life. Could be school, could be college. There could have been many interesting things that happened in your life, which you think is not worthy sharing, but it could stand out. Something like, um, say, in your entire family, you could have been. I'm just giving an example. Okay, I could be wrong. In your entire family, you could be the first generation graduate, or in your entire family, you could have been the first generation postgraduate. You could have been the first lady to have completed a particular degree. You could have been a school topper, or you could have been a sports person. A lot of these things don't necessarily get captured in the resume, right? You don't write in a resume that I'm the first generation graduate from my family. Or in your school or college, you could have done a project that became popular on the internet, or you created a YouTube video that became popular. I'm just giving you examples, right? So I'm very sure, even if you have not done anything that is big, take up something very small that you put your bill. Something as simple as, say, for example, after I completed 10th standard, I took it upon myself to educate children from the nearby areas who could not afford education on basic English or basic maths or anything, any other subject. So these are things that become interesting, because what happens is, even the interviewer, right? I mean, they keep typically an interviewer who comes to campus to recruit a lot of people would probably interview 20, 25 people, right? If all 25 people speak in the same way, I did this, I did that, I went to school, I went to college, there is a reasonable chance that they may not hold you in attention. So come up with something that you have done and articulate it in the form of a story. If you're wondering, where do I get a storytelling skills from? I don't have the skills. You're wrong. Every one of us, every human being has this ability to tell a story. Certain people do it very well. Certain people are beginners in that, but everybody has it. So my answer to your question, Raina, is find out instances from your life which you really believe in, which you've done, which you put your energy in, and tell it to the interviewer. That'll start the conversation. Of course, you can't talk for 30 minutes on that. For a minute or two, hold it, and then it'll ease. You'll ease into the interview. Clear? Raina, anything else you would like to know? Okay.
So if I have to say my name to them,
Yes, please.
can
Go
I
ahead.
say like as on the resume? My name is Reina Thomas, and I'm from here. Can I continue with the story thing that you said?
No, I didn't get you. Can you repeat your question?
I want to ask if I have to tell my
Mm-hmm.
name in my resume that my name is Reina Thomas. So should I say like as you all know, my name is Reina from the resume, or should I say something else?
No, that's
Or
fine.
simply, I shall say I am Reina Thomas.
You can say Reina Thomas. See, to Reina specifically and all students, see, an interview at the core of it is a conversation between two people. Always remember it. A lot of people think that interview happens with a stranger. I mean, of course, an interviewer is a stranger, but interviewer is also a human being, isn't it? All of us in this call, in this meeting, know how to speak to a human being, isn't it? Just that the person who's interviewing you could be slightly older than you, or could be more educated, or could have more experience. That's all. So have that in your mind. See, because if you overthink an interview, if you think too much, oh my God, what am I going to say? Am I going to sound dumb? Is that person somebody? You will definitely not do it. So the core of it is that it's a conversation in a formal setting. The difference between an interview and the difference between it and the conversation you have in a train journey. All of you travel by train, right? I mean, you pick up a conversation with the person traveling next to you. The difference between that and this is that interview is a formal setting, where that is a casual setting. That's all. So in a formal setting, you know what to talk, what not to talk. As long as you go with that orientation. In fact, for me, right in my house, they were asking me about this talk. I told that how is this talk different from the conversation I'm having? So technically, I'm here talking to all of you, right? I don't see any other difference. Whether it is 10 people on the call or 10,000 people on the call. In fact, I've addressed audiences as large as 10,000 people in certain large auditoriums, live, in person. I don't see a difference. The only difference is that I'm holding a mic and standing here. I'm sitting in my house. That's the difference. Same thing for you also in an interview. Have this mindset that, okay, I'm going to talk to a person. This is about me. This is something that I can say in a formal setting and go ahead. Am I clear?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Right. There was some other question. In the meantime, if you have other questions, other people can also type. Okay, how to improve Dikshit's question is, sir, how should I improve listening skills? Yes, Dikshit, it's a good question. So this is a bane of the current generation. The attention span of the current generation is the lowest in the history of mankind. That is because we have continuous distractions. I am very sure that while you are in this talk, there is some other app on your phone that you're browsing, or probably some other browser window on your thing. This is a bane of the current generation. Whereas, say, I think I'm not very old, but I think I must be at least 10 years older than all of you, minimum. So during our times, we didn't have internet was there as a concept, but access to internet was very low. We didn't have smartphones, so probably we didn't have anything else to do. So probably that naturally made us better listeners. But for the current problem that you're facing, that a lot of youngsters face, I would recommend that set aside, have some routines. By routine, what I mean is, suppose you have to study, or suppose you are involved in some research work. Every day, ensure that while you do that particular work, there's nothing else or nobody else whom you're talking to. Okay, because a conversation from a friend or a notification from WhatsApp can always wait. Okay, that is something that is causing a lot of problem, I believe, in the current generation, because we are always connected, and every time any app activity happens, there's a notification. In fact, one thing I would recommend all of you, in fact, I practice, is that all my notifications in my phone are off. The only notification I get is the phone call. I don't get anything else. A small hack that I've been practicing. It's been phenomenally helpful. And apart from that, always remember this feeling of being connected with people, right, on WhatsApp and all that is a very superfluous thing. It's a very fleeting emotion, right? You're actually not in touch with people. So it's just an illusion that okay, I'm in touch with people. I'm always talking to my friends, but for all you know, you may not have real conversations. So essentially, to be able to to increase your listening skills, it starts with focusing, right? I mean, so you have one task in hand, always focus on one task. In fact, on the internet and everywhere, people speak about multitasking. It's not scientifically proven, right? People say that you should be able to do 5 things at a time. It is wrong. At any point in time, the human brain can do only one. Probably you can switch from one to another, can come back, and with the same efficiency. But people think that, okay, fine, I should have 5 tabs open. I on one I listen to music. On the other thing, I will watch a video. On the phone, I'll speak to my friend and also do my research work. Your research work will not be of high quality. So start with focus. Start by having your me time. By me time, I mean your own time, where you do all the best work possible, like research, reading, all that. If you continuously do this over a period of time, naturally your listening skills will improve. It's not, see, if you ask your grandmother, for example, grandmother or grandfather, they will probably laugh at it. They'll be like, what do you mean by listening skills? We always had good listening skills. Listening skills are something that are inherent to all human beings. I think this generation is, because of the number of choices that are there, number of distractions that are there, I think as a human race, we are losing out on it. Otherwise, it's not some rocket science. It's not a Superman skill. It's a normal skill. I hope I've answered the question, Dikshit.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So where are you from, Dikshit? Can you speak a little bit about yourself?
Yes, sir. Myself, Dikshit, sir. I'm a PhD scholar, sir. From Sri Venkateswara Veterinary University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh, sir. Yes, sir.
And what is the context of this question you asked? I mean, was there any specific problem you're facing?
Yes, sir. My intention is to, while in a conversation, we are.
If others have questions, you could type them in the chat box or you can speak up. Right? By network, I'm talking about people networks. A lot of us, if you look at our networks are confined only to our classmates, our college mates. I'm very sure that people over here may not have had a chance to reach out to each other. To solve this problem, you could use networks, social networks that are available. Of course, Facebook, a lot of people use Facebook for their personal reasons. I can't comment on that. But on a professional front, I would urge all of you to start utilizing LinkedIn. Have you heard of LinkedIn? Yes. Good. So I would recommend all of you to leverage the power of LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a huge platform which is completely underutilized. I'm very happy that a lot of people have used it. Okay, LinkedIn is a collection of professionals across the world. By professionals, I'm not only speaking about people who are working already, people who are also seeking work. Please understand one thing: majority of the jobs, and in fact, this is something that you may not have heard before from anyone, is that majority of the jobs in the market are never advertised. People think that, okay, fine, I find a job by going to naukri.com, going to some website, or going through classifieds in my newspaper. Please understand, only 1% of the jobs actually make it there. The remaining 99% of the jobs don't even come out. Why doesn't it come out? It gets filled even before it gets out. But what do I mean by getting filled? It gets filled through referrals. It gets filled through your networks. Suppose you write so that on your network on LinkedIn saying that, suppose you have 100 followers, say that I would like to hire somebody for this job. Even before that becomes a proper job description, one friend or relative or family member could refer a person, and that person is more likely to be hired. Right? This is what I refer to as the power of networking. Right? In case, I'm happy that many of you are already there on LinkedIn. I'm also very active on LinkedIn. I mean, gradually I built my followers. Of course, with hundreds today, I'm not sure of the number. I think it should be more than 10,000 followers I have on LinkedIn, and that's a huge network for me. A lot of my work, and in a professional context, gets done through LinkedIn. You could also follow me. I'll type my name on LinkedIn. In the chat box. This is my full name. You could connect with me on LinkedIn. Not only me, you could connect with anybody that you want to. Suppose you have a particular target company, right? In fact, since this is about a career talk, suppose you have a target company. I'm very sure that company's CEO, that company's HR, or that company's manager at some level, all of them are on LinkedIn. So please find them on LinkedIn. Type the name of the company, go to employees box, click on that. You'll find a lot of people who are doing it. So connect with them. Why should you connect with them tomorrow if they post something on LinkedIn saying for that company they're hiring? You can directly send them a message. You got it? Yes? No? Right. So this is good. This is how you use it. And a lot of people who are already on LinkedIn start utilizing it more. By utilizing it more, what I mean is start becoming active on LinkedIn. Suppose you did some project. Suppose you presented in a seminar. Present that, take a photo of that, upload it on LinkedIn. The impression that your followers and others will get is that, okay, this person is working hard. This person is doing something. So that opens up a job opportunity even without you applying. All right. So this is the power of LinkedIn. Let's see how you utilize the power of LinkedIn. And apart from LinkedIn, be active in many forums. I'm happy that your university, that the Agriculture University of Kerala is organizing this a series of talks. When you go to these talks, connect with people from other places, other states, and be open to learning from their experiences. This is what I'm referring to as a networking, which is awfully missing in majority of the people. And this is a soft skill. This cannot be taught in a syllabus. No syllabus in the world has it. But you could pick it up. Okay, in the meantime, we have another question. So for sure, I'll remember Jayesh, because Jayesh is the one who's asking me the most questions. Suppose the interviewer asks a question and we are not able to answer it. What can we do? Right? If you genuinely don't know an answer to a question, please say, I don't know. It's completely okay. Right? And I'm not only referring to my Google interview. Of course, after that, I've also worked in a few other companies. In fact, in all the interviews, if you look at my experience, not only my experience, you could speak to anybody who's been working for a long time. I'm very sure nobody would have known the answers to all the questions. Not knowing the answer to one question does not mean that you will be rejected. It is a wrong thought process. Nobody knows. In fact, even the interviewer doesn't know the answer to all the questions. Right? I mean, don't do it in the interview, but I'm just saying, suppose you were to ask an interviewer a question, there's a good chance he or she won't know. So don't be under this impression that I have to answer everything right, everything should go well. Everything will not go well. That is how life is, right? Even in life, we don't have answers for everything. Certain things we don't know. How you carry it off is important. See, if you genuinely don't know, please say, I don't know. Don't try to say a wrong answer to cover up, because if you cover up, they will find out that you actually don't know. And that is worse than actually saying, I don't know. Point one. And point two is always have this, project this persona, project this attitude that, yes, I don't know, but I'm happy to learn. Yes, I don't know, but I'm willing to be trained on this. So that gives an impression that, okay, fine, this person is happy to be trained. This person wants to grow in life. As I told you, interviewers watch out for such people who have a lot of positive attitude towards learning, positive attitude towards growing in their careers. So not knowing is completely okay. Nobody in the world knows it all. See, bad impression doesn't come from lack of knowledge. Bad impression comes from bad attitude. As I told you, right? Today, knowledge is not the precious commodity. Today, attitude is the precious commodity. All right, we've covered three aspects. One is practical know-how, and of course, the first is communication. Second is practical know-how. Third is networking. since we're at 4, I think we have some more time. It's until 4:30, right, madam?
Yes, sir. He can take up to 4:30.
Okay, right. We have time until 4:30. All right. Abhishek Saha. Right, Abhishek, where are you? In this audience, where are you? Abhishek, are you there? Okay, Abhishek is not there. Right. Since Abhishek is not there, I'll take the question of Nitya Kalpana. In this competitive world, this competitive world wants us to be creative and somewhere innovative. But why there? Right, Nitya, very good question. Can you speak? Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm here, sir.
Can you articulate your good question?
Sir, in this competitive world, people and interviewers always look to be something creative and innovative from the people those who attend interview. But even in the stage of this resume submission, they look for some formats. So format is direct opposite to creative. So that's what I'm asking, sir.
Right. It's a very good question. So her question is, all of us say that we have to become creative, we have to be innovative, but in resumes, why don't we have innovation? It's a very good question. If you look at the entire ambit of hiring, if you look at how hiring happens, how recruiters come to recruit you, this usually happens in a mass scale. By mass scale, what I mean is, unlike very few, rather, with the exception of a very few companies, with the exception of a few roles, majority of the roles there are hundreds of candidates. So, in today's context, most resumes aren't even shortlisted by human beings. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, most resumes. Suppose a large IT company is recruiting 1,000 people, and assuming there are 20,000 applications, the first point of tracking your resume is not done by a human; it's done by a software. And software is fed with. See, at the end of the day, software is man-made, right? Which means a man has created it, a person has created it, and they have given an input of a few keywords, saying that watch out for these keywords, watch out for right grammar errors, watch out for punctuation, etc. And which is why they say that it's preferable to stick to a format because the software only shortlists you. And assuming that the software doesn't shortlist, assuming that even a human being shortlists you, the workforce, as in if you look at corporate India or the corporate world, majority of the recruiters are trained to do the first round of elimination, which sticks to certain format. Of course, within that format, you can get a little more creative. In fact, I've seen a lot of resumes myself where people don't write simple lines. They create infographics on the resume. It is acceptable. So that level of creativity you can do, no problem.
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
So instead of giving your 10th, 12th standard, college, postgraduate, UG, PG, all those mark sheets in the form of a tabular column, you could use your creativity to create infographics. Or I'll give you another example. When you are listing down the languages that you know, different languages. Nitya, where are you from? Which state?
Sir, my native is Tamil Nadu, but I'm studying in KAU.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you can speak Tamil well.
Yes, sir.
Right. And how about Malayalam?
I can understand, but I couldn't speak fluently.
Correct. So clearly you know Tamil, Malayalam, and English, right?
Yes, sir.
With varying levels of proficiency. Naturally, Tamil, I'm assuming, will be the highest proficiency, followed by English and Malayalam, right?
Yes, sir.
So instead of in your resume, instead of writing languages known, instead of saying number one English, number two Tamil, number two Malayalam, you could create an infographic. By infographic, what I mean is create for each. This is just an example. Okay, you could use your creativity. You could say next to each language, create 5 dots, and for Tamil, you can shade 4 out of the 5 dots, which shows that you have very high level of proficiency. And probably for English, you can shade 3, and for Malayalam, probably 2. Right. So instead of a person having to read, a list of languages, they'll find it. Okay, so this is a pictorial representation of your language proficiency. By shade, what I'm saying is you could use MS Word. Don't manually shade. That won't look nice. You can use the Microsoft Office to do it. This level of creativity is completely acceptable. So please go ahead. You could use this level of creativity. But something that is very creative. For example, it's expected that resumes are in a A4 sheet, isn't it? Or it's presented. Usually today, all these resumes are presented online, so it's expected that's in a PDF document. So don't create a document that is sort of triangular in shape. So that kinds of creativity wouldn't go well because that creativity is not expected for the job. Say suppose you are applying for the job of a graphic designer. You're applying to the job of a visual manager or a creative artist. Then you can explore creativity to the maximum. But for normal jobs, by normal I'm talking about the jobs that are available in plenty in the market, stick to certain norms, and inside that you could use your creativity. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So it's a good question that Nitya asked. So I would recommend that all of you please spend, not I wouldn't use the word spend. I would use the word invest. Please invest sufficient time in creating your resume, because as I told you, for jobs that there are thousands of applicants, software will usually shortlist your resume. Even if software were not shortlisting, even if a human being were to do it, resume is the first impression you're making in the minds of recruiter. So invest time. So a lot of people I see come up with resumes one night before the interview. Please don't do it. Right? Because anything, irrespective of results, the process of doing something is very important. In fact, if you put enough effort on process, the results will anyway happen. And even if results don't happen, you don't have to worry too much. And the process of doing something involves preparation. So go to the internet today. Internet has abundant information. Look at different kinds of resumes. Look at different people who prepared resumes. So go through all that. Get all the learning. Apply the learning in your resume. That's what I'm referring to as preparation. All right. Okay. I just got started with another skill. As I told you, communication was number 1. Practical know-how was number 2. Networking was number 3. Number 4 is adaptability. In fact, this directly hits the nail on its head as to why success in school doesn't translate to success in college, and why success in college doesn't translate to success in career and long-term career. It's simply because of adaptability or lack of adaptability. Right? A lot of people, it's not necessarily about students, it's also about working professionals, are not very malleable. By malleable, what I mean is they are not willing to change or bend according to the demands of the situation. So one key skill I would urge you to adapt, or rather imbibe in yourself, is start putting yourself in unfamiliar situations. Right? Usually when I go to colleges, in fact, for the record, I have directly addressed and trained more than 1 lakh people across the country. And I've in person visited over 300 institutions across the country. So I've seen various kinds of institutions, various kinds of people, and one thing I see is that people always stick to their friend circle. Your friend is a friend, fair enough, but a friend will not help you get a job, or a friend is a personification of your comfort zone. When you go to a job, there's a very good chance that you're going to meet people who come from some other language background, who come from some other country, who come from some other race. So always try to put yourself in unfamiliar situations. By unfamiliar, what I mean is, suppose you are not comfortable talking to strangers. Use such opportunities, the conferences that are being conducted. Instead of you and your friend sitting in the chair next to each other, please go and sit next to a stranger. What happens is, because you're sitting next to him or her, there is a natural tendency to talk. There's a natural tendency to answer certain questions or ask doubts. So this will give you the background and adaptability at a personal, at an in-person level when you go to a job, because there's a very good chance that your first job, your first manager may not be from the same background that you come from the same state or language. Uh, this is a very critical skill, adaptability not only with people but also with technologies. You should also be aware by now that technologies today don't last for more than 10 years. A lot of technologies that we used as children are today obsolete, which means the world, from a technology point of view, is also changing very fast. So develop this curiosity to be able to learn new things and adapt whenever things are changing. That's a very crucial thing. If you look at these 10th standard students who became state toppers, in their mind they'll be thinking, "Oh my God, I am the state topper. I am on the top of the world. Nobody else is equivalent to me." When he's thinking like that, he's letting go of opportunities in front of him. That is why a 10th standard topper is usually not a 12th standard topper. And a 12th standard topper goes with this mentality that, you know what, I know everything in the thing. I'm the state topper. But the requirements of the college could be different. Probably the college evaluates you on aspects other than marks. Probably you studied in a particular syllabus in school, and the syllabus in college was different. Probably you were required to take an optional language. So they are not able to adapt to the new format. And the same thing, you could be a university topper, you could be the best student. But even if you're the best student, if you're not able to speak in the interview, you won't get a job. Again, adaptability. Suppose you got the best job and you go to a company and then say that, "Oh, I don't have any friends in my company. All my teammates are strangers. So I'm leaving this job." That's it. You won't be able to progress in your career. So you understand, right? Yes, no? You could type yes on the chat box. Great. This is precisely what I mean by adaptability. The ability to be able to continuously put yourself in uncertain or ambiguous situations and see how you react. And the best way to experiment that is in college. Any questions on adaptability? Thank you so much for responding with a lot of energy. Any other questions on adaptability, on what to speak in interviews, on how to prepare resume, or what to talk, what not to talk? All right. In fact, I had a similar session. They had invited me in from Stella Maris College, Chennai. The session was scheduled for 1 hour, but then it went on for 2 hours. Not because I spoke extra content, but because there were so many questions. So I'm happy anyway. Even here, we're getting a lot of questions. It's a good sign. How should one prepare a resume? Raina Thomas. The best resource to use is the internet. Please use the internet. Today, thanks to companies such as Geo, thanks to the government also being pro internet and digitization, internet and access to information, I think this generation is the most gifted generation. To start with the internet, please find out resources where sufficient resume types are there, and you could probably. I'm not sure about because you're from different colleges, right? So different colleges have different functions and structure for helping students with career services. In case you have a career services department, or in case there's a professor or an officer who takes care of it, you could ask them to arrange for a session or a training on resume. Do that. But even if that is not there, you could start by using the resources on the internet. There are ample websites on the internet that speak about resume preparation. Start with that. Now we have another question from Vipin Kumar. Vipin Kumar, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Vipin. Can you please introduce yourself and then you can ask your question?
Sir, my name is Vipin Kumar. I am a master's. I am pursuing my master's from National Dairy Research Institute, Karnal, in Dairy Extension Division. So, sir, my question is related to resume. That how do if while we are preparing for any resume, so what we should care about means in the resume. In generally, when among my friends, I prepare for the resume, we are just sharing common things. Means in my abilities or different things I have to mention, they are very common. But while applying for if I am applying for a company like related to fertilizer or accordingly to an institution which is specifically working in particular field, so do I have to project my particular skills in that or just general view of my uh, hobbies
Right.
or
That's a
other
very good
things?
question, Vipin. I'm glad that you asked it. See, always remember there is no one resume for one person.
Okay,
It's a
sir.
good question. In fact, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people have one resume uploaded everywhere. It is not the right way to
Yes, yes,
approach
right.
simply because I'll tell you why. In fact, I'll give you some background to this question, tell you where this question comes from, and I'll tell you what is the future of this question. See, you have to understand
Yes.
that all of us, right? There's a Harvard study. The study from Harvard University says that the current generation, which is you, which is the people that are graduating today, in their lifetime. Of course, the exception is that if you get to a government job where there is a permanency of employment, it's a different situation. But assuming that you're getting to the private sector, the private sector nobody has a job guarantee. The situation today, and Vipin, you could switch off your microphone.
Yes.
So thanks. The Harvard study says that Harvard University study says that the generation that graduates today moves anywhere between 15 to 17 jobs. Okay, so take a deep breath to understand this. 15 to 17 jobs, and they're not exaggerating. And this is the reality. 15 to 17 jobs across 5 to 6 careers. This is what is the reality in the market today. Okay. The reason I'm giving this background is that a lot of things. See, there are two aspects to the career. One is the job market, and the second is yourself. Today, Vipin might understand. You did dairy technology, right, Vipin?
Yes, sir.
Right. So today you did dairy technology for some reason. It could be family. It could be because you like dairy technology, or probably you got admission only there. It could be many things. After 2 years, you may think that okay, dairy technology is not fine. I want to do something else. And after that, you could pursue an MBA. And after MBA, you could again do a PhD. So that is one aspect. The second aspect is job market. Today, for dairy technology, there could be a market. Uh, After 5 years, the market may not be there. After 10 years, there could be something else that replaces dairy, isn't it? So you have to realize that between both these variables, one side your personality, which is constantly evolving, all our personalities keep changing. Today, what you think about yourself will 100% be different from what you think of yourself 5 years down the line. Today, the market conditions will be 100% different from what it will be 10 years down the line. Between these is where our careers progress. And in this journey, from the beginning itself, identify two or three versions of yourself. Because what happens is when you apply to a job in a particular company, that company has a particular requirement. and you could have done some work. I'm not asking you to lie. So I'm definitely not recommending that you lie or make up stuff that you don't do. I'm not saying that. But highlight stuff that is important to that particular company or the job. Because I am very sure in your college, even in dairy technology, you could have, I mean, if a company is hiring a person in the capacity of a researcher, highlight your research abilities. Because in a resume, you only have, under each segment, you only have 2 or 3 points you can write. If you write 10 points, the interviewer, or rather the person who's looking at your resume, will get bored. So highlight your experience on research, probably the papers that you published, probably the co-authored journals that you did, probably the presentations that you made in a conference. On the other hand, if you're applying to a job in a corporate, say for example, Amul is hiring, and Amul is hiring for the job of a person who comes from this dairy background, but they want a person to be able to do sales. Then speak about what kind of business aspects that you handled. By business, I'm referring to something as simple as putting together your college festival or arranging funds for your festival. College, I'm sure all colleges have college festivals, right? And even I remember as a student, we went out to get funding from a lot of companies. So that is technically sales. You sold the idea of you know, um, festival in your college to a corporate, and they gave you money. So for both these jobs, you should have 2 resumes. And here again, you are not lying. You are just highlighting various aspects depending on the context that you're in. And for a sales job, if you write a resume highlighting all your research experience, you may not be shortlisted because they don't want such a candidate. And this is what I want you to introspect. By introspect, I'm referring to look inside because most of us have diverse personality types. The personality types, diverse personality types, I'm not referring to a split personality. Don't get me wrong. I am saying that we all have multiple competencies, all of us. Nobody is born to be a researcher. Nobody is born to be a salesperson. We all take up different routes based on situations, based on compulsions in life, based on our changing expertise. So the answer to your question, Vipin, is yes, 100%. You should have a resume tailor-made to the job that you're applying. Don't give a general resume.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
The fact that you've thought about it means that you are one step ahead of other people because most students don't even think all this.
Yes.
For most students, resume means a paper. No, resume could be 2 or 3 types depending on which kind of job you're applying.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Vipin, we've answered the question. Anis Mohammed. Anis Mohammed, well, I'm late to join this meeting. Would you be sharing this presentation? This presentation is getting recorded, plus it's been telecasted on YouTube Live. That's what I understand. For further questions, you could contact the organizers. There are a few professors who are organizing it. You could get in touch with them. Shalini, where is Shalini? Shalini has asked a question.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Shalini, please go ahead. Can you introduce yourself and then ask a question?
Myself, Shalini Shidram, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I am from Bihar.
Okay.
Rimit University, Mandi Govindgarh, Punjab.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. I want sir, how to present resume in any company for job?
No, by present, what do you mean? You're referring to applying or you're referring to preparing?
Preparing, sir.
So this is a question that a few students already asked. When you're preparing a resume, I would recommend that you start with doing your research on the internet. There are so many websites that speak about resume preparation. And again, I would recommend that you contact your respective college or university. Certain colleges and universities have something called the career cell or the placement cell, where they take up such activities. They could probably have somebody come over to help you with your resume. But in case that help is not available, the internet is good enough. I'm very sure you can prepare your resume by looking at sample resumes on the internet. Internet is abundant with information.
Thank you, sir.
Sure, you're welcome. We have another question from Sunil. Sunil, where are you? Please introduce yourself.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Sunil, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Sir, I'm Richu Matthew Sunil. Yes, sir. I'm Richu Matthew Sunil. I'm from Kerala. I'm currently doing my master's in agricultural economics.
Go ahead.
Sir, hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. My question, So my question is how the technologies and things are constantly evolving in every field. So how do you stay updated in your career or in your field? So, and what are the different methods you can follow to upgrade or upskill yourself according to the situation?
Right. It's a good question. It's a very relevant question. In fact, there's a report by the World Economic Forum that says that majority of the jobs that are going to be available in 2030 aren't even available today.
Yes, sir. Even I have
a report by the World Economic Forum, and they are not exaggerating. They are on dot. This has many aspects to it, Sunil. But since we have only 2 minutes to speak, I'll put this together in a short form. See, the first thing, of course, is mindset. Mindset is the biggest differentiator between a successful person and a person who's not successful. Because a successful person has a growth mindset. He or she wants to continuously upgrade. And the person who is not successful thinks that he already knows everything and he gets complacent. So the first answer to your question is mindset. And the second answer to your question is irrespective of which career you take up, which job, which city, wherever you are, set aside at least 2 to 3 hours every week. Okay. Or see, if you're going to tell me I don't have 2 hours in a whole week, then I don't think it is right, because all of us have at least 2 hours in a week. See, irrespective of whichever company that you work, no company in the world will ask you to work on a Sunday. Most companies don't even ask you to work on a Saturday, right, unless there's something, an emergency. So set aside these weekends to a ballpark figure I would give you is about 2 to 3 hours every week, where you subscribe to magazines or journals or read from the internet about incidents, current affairs in a particular industry. Right. And in addition to reading, because when you read those things, you will also get to know what are the new developments and consequently what are the new skill sets that are required. And today, again, on the internet, you will be able to match the skills to the service provider. What I mean to say is, suppose you identify a skill, you'll be able to find out which company is providing you training on it. So to start with, these two things are more than enough. And the reason why this is one of the most important aspects is the fact that this generation, the people that are graduating now, will switch 15 to 17 jobs in their career. By career, I'm talking about the next 35, 40 years of your active working life, and 5 to 6 careers, because the world is changing. The only thing constant in the world is change, and we have to be adaptable to it. And the other things, of course, I can talk about it for a long time. I think, considering the paucity of time, you could look at these two aspects: mindset shift and setting aside a routine 2-3 hours every week on a Sunday or Saturday to get to know what's happening in the industry. Because a lot of people, when we go into the job, we get so deep into the job that we don't know anything outside. So it helps if you consciously zoom in and zoom out. Zoom in on Monday, get to the job, complete the job. Sunday, zoom out. Think of, okay, fine, where am I in my life? What is happening outside? What is happening in the other company? What are my other people doing, friends doing, colleagues doing? Zoom out. That will ensure that you grow in your career sustainably.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, Sunil. So I'd love to take many more questions but we are short of time.
Yes. I think it's we'll stick to that time.
Sure.
Dr. Sulaja, are you there?
Yes, madam.
So I think you may please invite Sujata ma'am for the concluding remarks.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you, sir. That was a wonderful session. It was really motivating for our participants. You interacted with them. Moreover, you made them speak also. It was quite interesting, sir. And I would like to invite Dr. Sujata R, Principal Investigator, NHAP CAST, to have concluding remarks and word of thanks. Sujata, madam. Sujata, madam, are you there?
Yes.
Please, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Sulaja. And it was a very interesting session. Thank you, sir, very much for the time spent. And very effective, because without even any PowerPoint or anything, you could make the session so lively. So that itself is a demonstration for the students that if your communication skills are honed up, you will be able to communicate anything without any even a PowerPoint. Nowadays, most of the people depends upon PowerPoint because it is somewhat easy compared to catching the attention for 2 hours or 1 or 2 hours. It is very difficult. But simply by explaining with your example as well as various situations, the students could get a very good idea about how to communicate with any other person, a stranger, all those things. It was a very enlightening speech. Thank you very much for sharing your time and your knowledge.
Thank you, madam. And I have a few students asking how to connect with me. I have just typed my full name on the chat box. I'll type it again. You could connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That is something. And thank you to the organizers and the students, because the success of any session is also dependent on the participants. Right? If you didn't ask questions, or if the organizers didn't facilitate it, then I wouldn't have been able to give my best. Thank you so much for organizing, and thank you all the students for. I also understand how difficult it is to listen to somebody for 1.5 hours. Thank you so much. Right, I look forward to connecting with you and look forward to meeting.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, all the participants.
So we'll meet tomorrow at the same time.
Okay, thank you, madam. The program comes to an end. Thank you, one and all.